All right, it's afternoon of day 12. I just realized I hadn't done a video yet today, so I thought I'd sit down and do that. I actually just finished my lunch. This is what's left of my smoothie lunch. It's really good. This one is a berry, so my regular vegetables, and then I added strawberries, blueberries, a very few raspberries, and then I also added grapes because I think it kind of mellows out all the berry flavor a little bit. And then of course the Greek yogurt, which was a different kind. I found one that had whole milk, so some extra calories, and then only 1 gram of sugar. So, and it's organic. Anyway, so that's what I used today. Smoothie was really good. So I'm happy. Last night I did have some more peanut butter. I was trying to up my calories. So my dietitian told me to start trying to keep track of some calories. She really wants me to get to 800. And when I counted them up last night, it was 550 maybe. So that was just the only thing I could think of that was high in calories. I mean, it's high in fats too, but kind of need that too. So I did that. Got me up to around 700. So not quite the 800, but at least it was better than 550. I don't know what I'm going to do today, if I'm going to have to have more or not, because so far I've just had my protein shake, which is 160 calories, and now the smoothie is probably about 150, well, yeah, about 150. So, and then I'm going to have chicken broth. And I thought, oh, last night, I'm like, oh, I'll just have some more chicken broth. Surely that'll get me like 100 or something. No, it's 5 calories per cube, and I put 2 cubes in. Ooh, 10 whole calories extra. Anyway, so that's what I did last night. I just added the peanut butter in to up my calorie basis. We'll see what I have to do tonight. Maybe I'll just make a chocolate peanut butter smoothie and just add the peanut butter to my chocolate and drink that for dinner tonight. We'll see. That actually sounds kind of good. So, on the chicken bouillon. So the last few days I've only been having 1 cup a day. And especially today, I've been dealing with more of the dizziness and blackout visions. Or blackout vision when I stand up. Doesn't go completely black like it was the other day, but it definitely closes in, and then I gotta stand there for a second. So I'm thinking I really have to stick to 2 a day. Just to get my sodium so my blood pressure can stay up. I'm getting plenty of fluids, so I know it's not a dehydration issue. It's a needing more sodium issue. So there you go. So since I just finished my smoothie, I'll wait just a little bit, maybe 30 minutes, and then I'll have one, and then I'll have to have another cup of chicken broth before I go to bed tonight. And then hopefully I won't have so many issues tomorrow when I'm at work, because I work all weekend. It's easier when I'm at work because I'm so cold. I want something warm all the time. So I usually have 1 or 2, or one of the chicken broth, and then some of the no sugar hot chocolate that we have, and then I'll have another chicken broth at night when I get home because I need to warm up from being cold all day. So it hasn't been an issue when I'm at work. It's just when I'm home, I typically have only been doing 1. So naughty me, I guess. I just have to do 2. So other positive things that have been going on since I'm now on day 12 of this diet or challenge is the cravings. I'm not really craving the sugary, carby stuff like I was before. I mean, I still want it every now and then. Like, I still will, like, oh, see something with bread or something, or, some kind of a candy and or dessert. I'm like, oh, that literally looks good, but it fades really fast. Like, I'm not like obsessing over it, which is great. I'm very happy about that. Also, I had been dealing with a lot of chronic fatigue problems. I'd been to the doctor. I've got an appointment with the sleep center at the end of this month, just because I was falling asleep all the time, and I could sleep 12 hours and still take a nap that day and still go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock at night. I was falling asleep at work, falling asleep trying to get to work. You know, it was ridiculous how tired I was all the time. That's kind of resolving now. I was kind of hoping that maybe it was a diet-based issue. And if this energy level continues, and I know for sure it was a diet issue, and I can cancel my sleep center study, because I'd be like, just stay off the carbs and the sugar and I can stay awake. Imagine that. I guess I don't know if my blood sugar just would go up and then down, and I don't know. I just know that I'm feeling better, that I've got energy. I generally don't have to have 3 cups of my caffeine. I'm really, during the day, especially when I'm at home, I can do 1 and I'm fine. I just really like the flavor. That's probably why I have more than 1, especially at work, is just because I enjoy it. Not because I necessarily need the caffeine, but anyway, I am just happy I actually have energy. I don't feel like I'm gonna fall asleep every time I sit down. So I'm really happy with how that is. Also, I think my skin is actually a little bit better. So really good things are starting to happen. I'm very happy with how things are progressing. It's kind of doing what I had hoped it would do, and especially around this time of year when there's, you know, a whole bag of flippin' candy in my kitchen right now. But it's a bag, not an open bowl as usual. And it's up out of my sight, so I have told my kids I better not be seeing wrappers laying around everywhere because I don't want to see it. So far so good. So yeah, it's going really good. I'm really happy. It really sucked there for a while, but the last couple of days have been really good. And now I work this weekend, and work typically goes a bit better too, so I'm happy. I'm happy how things are going. So anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'll update later tonight and just kind of, I don't know what I'll talk about. We'll see. I'll do some research on something or tell you more stories about my food addiction struggles. One or the other, but I'll do something tonight. Have a great rest of the day. All right, so end of day 12. One revelation for today. The Jif peanut butter is gonna have to go. Very sad, but it's just gonna cause problems. I can tell. So, once this jar, it's almost gone, thank goodness. Once it's gone, then I'll buy the kids some off-brand. They don't care. And then I'm not tempted because it doesn't taste as good as Jif. And then I'll just use the peanut butter powder. Works. So that's kind of what you have to do as an addict, find out what is okay and what is not for you. Jif peanut butter, not good for my addiction, unfortunately. So I said I would discuss some things tonight, so I did a little bit of research. I found the 10 patterns of addictive behavior. I found it on the psychologyoftoday.com. Just kind of goes through how you know if you have an addiction. So this is not talking about food specifically, it's talking about addiction in general. Because addiction can be, it's not just drugs, it's not just alcohol, it's not just food. It can be gambling, sex, food, drugs. I mean, it can be a number of things. So here's a list of 10 key behavioral patterns associated with addictions. Number 1 is unsuccessful attempts to quit. I can't tell you how many times I have tried diets, tried to give up sugar, tried to give up carbs, way more than I could even try to count. So an addict will express a desire to quit completely but are unable to follow through. And then short-term abstention is common, but long-term relapse is high. So, of course, what kind of hope does that give me? But it's all right. We try. Number 2, cue-triggered relapse. So, the experience with an addictive substance sensitizes the user to environmental cues that subsequently trigger cravings and signal opportunities for consumption. So a recovering addict is more likely to fall off the wagon if they receive a small taste of their drug of choice or experience stress. So, yeah, that's why the same for a cocaine addict or an alcoholic. Just even one little taste of alcohol or one little bit of cocaine or whatever the drug is can send you into this downward spiral. So it's the same thing with food. You get that one little taste of sugar. If I were to go into my kid's candy bag right now and have one taste of a Reese's peanut butter cup or a Snickers, it's going to send me into a horrible downward spiral again. So cue triggered release. And stress, of course, is a huge trigger for me. 3, loss of control. Means that one is knowingly acting against their prior determination to abstain. So the typical reaction to this failure involves strong negative emotions. So, I mean, how many times have I completely lost control? There's one time I remember I was pretty fresh out of college, living in an apartment, and I made a skillet of goulash because I thought it sounded good. I was eating, I had a plate, and then I was gonna put it in a container for later, and I just kept eating it out of the pan, and I could not stop. And I cried. I was crying as I was eating because I wanted to stop, and I physically could not make myself stop. So, complete loss of control. That's number 3. Number 4, turn my page. Desire without pleasure. So, addicts will commonly continue their behavior even while reporting that the substance is no longer pleasurable. I can't tell you again how many times I have started eating something and it tastes good, but then I just keep eating it and keep eating it and keep eating it beyond the point where it even tastes any good anymore. It's just I'm eating it because I can't stop. So I'm getting no pleasure from it, but I'm going to eat it anyway. 5, staying vigilant. So there is no cure for addiction. No cure. Recovering addicts often manage their tendency to make mistakes by exercising cognitive control, such as voluntarily reducing or eliminating future options. So that just means, like, for me, keeping sugar out of the house, keeping carbs out of anything that is a true trigger food for me, I'd have to keep it out of the house. I can't have it in the house. My kids don't need to eat all that crap either. So why do I need to buy it? Just to torture myself with it, having it here and not being able to eat it? No, that's stupid. It's not good for me. It's not good for the kids. So why have it in the house? It's also under that same point, are like support groups. I'm really disappointed that all of the support groups for my bariatric, from my bariatric center, are all on Monday nights, and I work every single Monday, so I can't go to those. I used to go to Overeaters Anonymous, which is based on the Alcoholics Anonymous 12 steps. We use the same blue book as AA, but then we have some other different reading materials. So that would be another, and there's other support groups out there. So I know that's probably something I really should be looking into again, just for staying vigilant. If I really want to be free from this addiction for long term, I need to stay vigilant. That was number 5. Number 6, cross addiction. So many addicts often substitute one compulsive problem for another. So I've heard of some that have had gastric bypass. I don't know any of them personally, but I've just heard stories where they'll become alcoholics. So they're just substituting the food for alcohol. Or, you hear of some drug addicts, when recovering, they gain a bunch of weight because they are substituting food for their alcohol. So they're trying to find pleasure in something that they can't have anymore, their addictive substance. So they're going to try to find that pleasure from something else. Number 7, self-medication. So the self-medication theory of addiction suggests that individuals with deficits in emotion regulation skills may use drugs in an attempt to manage negative or distressing affective states. That's a lot. It's a lack of good coping skills, basically. And that's part of the reason why I'm going to go see a psychiatrist. See if they can help me figure out some better coping skills. 8, genetic vulnerability. So there is substantial evidence of a genetic predisposition to developing an addiction. So if in your family you have an addict, you could possibly be more genetically disposed to forming an addiction yourself. 9, what is substance abuser versus addict? So at some undefined point, substance abusers are no longer in control of their substance use. Once a person crosses over this undefined line, there is an alteration in brain circuitry that cannot be reversed. They likened it to a cucumber becoming a pickle. Once a cucumber becomes a pickle, it can never be a cucumber again. So once an abuser crosses over that line and becomes an addict, they can't ever go back to just being an abuser. They're always going to be an addict. And they're always going to deal with the issues that come along with addiction. 10, addiction is not limited to substance abuse, which I kind of already mentioned a little bit. The psychological concept of operant conditioning suggests that if a behavior is followed by a rewarding experience, an individual becomes more likely to repeat the rewarding behavior at a later time. So that can go for any kind of addiction. The sex addiction, the gambling addiction, the food addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction. How many other addictions? Now the electronics, like phone addiction, electronic addiction, game systems. If it is followed by a rewarding experience, you have a higher likelihood of becoming addicted to it. There you go. There's my 10. That is what I researched today. The 10 patterns of addictive behavior. So, all in all, good day. Other than discovering peanut butter is not going to be, Jif peanut butter is not going to be a good idea for me. Oh well. Just one more thing. And it's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with giving it up. Anyway, tomorrow is day 13. That's good. It's kind of going quick, kind of. In a way, not really. Yes and no. I don't know. You know, one of those types of things. So, I hope you have a good night. Tomorrow is a work day for me. So, I have already prepped all of my smoothie stuff. And I'm ready for a good weekend at work. I hope you have a good night.